Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening and welcome to the 9th round of the MX5 Cup within the DRSCCA. I am Tom Cairns in the commentary position. Alongside me is Josh Boshell with Amet working behind the scenes as the rain is lashing down at this notorious circuit, which will add even more of a challenging element to the drivers who are in their final minutes of qualifying just to improve their times for the half-an-hour race we've got coming up. There is a warm-up session for them to practice how they go about racing in these conditions before the real thing does get underway. Let's bring Charles into the booth and get a word from him on what he thinks will be taking place here in these tricky conditions. I think tricky is an understatement, don't you think, Charles?
Yeah, I think tricky is the right word for tonight. It's raining harder than I've seen in any of our sessions this season. I mean, we had a very wet Barber Motorsports Park earlier in the year, but I don't think it was to this level. Combine that with the fact that this is a very wide open track, high speed, lots of drafting, lots of long straightaways to worry about. That's going to make things that much worse, trying to get these cars slowed down for some very tricky corners, even in the dry. There's a couple of corners here that are very challenging, as we see a very nice drift from Samuel Scott there coming through the final corner. That was very well done. That was a power slide of great importance there as he came through, and didn't set a faster lap time, but he had a good time doing it, I'm sure. Yeah, so looking forward to this race tonight. It's just going to be a matter of patience, finding a good line. I don't think we're going to have any drying of the track tonight. Looks like the weather forecast is showing that we're going to have rain for the entire affair. So just get ready for some spray and some ill handling race cars, and we're going to have some fun with it though.
I can't remember if I said the wrong circuit when I introduced the broadcast, but we are racing at Road Atlanta, just to correct myself. But there we see Ryder Poe going into the barrier there at the last turn of the course. At least that's happened during qualifying or practice and not in the race itself for Ryder. But now we are with the man in your picture, Ari Reuter, who has won on several occasions this season. But it is Lincoln Olsen that won the last two. He'll be hoping to go for a hat-trick of wins here, and Ari Reuter will be doing his utmost to stop that from happening. But is Sam Scott at the top of the timing pages with a 1 minute 50.5, just 300ths quicker over Ryan Goff, who is excelling in the conditions clearly. Big gaps in the field. We've got 25 drivers registered for tonight. We have got drivers who have yet to set lap times in qualifying. Matthew Manorino is one of them. Richard Shea William Lindner and Alex Larson were also yet to get a time on the board of any sort. Jim Reuter coming and saying on board from Southwest Florida, USA. Good to have you here, Jim. Brennan Kennedy saying hello to us and how we all doing. We are very good, Brennan. Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of us are in the motorsport feeling this week, given the fact that Formula One kickstarts its 2026 campaign in Albert Park, Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that'll be prom watching for a lot of folks around the world, and we will. I'll be looking forward to that as well. Love going in and hanging out with my friends and my racing team. We go and have a little watch party when we watch the big events, and obviously the start of the F1 season is a big event, and we'll see how the 2026 season rolls out for them. As I'm also looking forward to the first NLS race of the year coming up in a couple of weeks at the Nürburgring. So the racing's happening. I want to say that, and Jim. Here I am, 3 hours west of Road Atlanta, and I think somebody tinkered with the weather because it was 82 degrees and sunny today here in Birmingham, Alabama. Very very similar conditions at Road Atlanta in real life. Not so much here in our race session though, as we've turned this into a properly wet track.
Ryan Goff coming in saying it's real wet. Well, you don't need Sherlock Holmes to tell you that it's wet out there. And we have a look at the man who is just going through the back end of the circuit. That is Andrew Mowat, currently 7th fastest behind Lincoln Olsen, who has posted a time of 1:51.0. The fastest driver of the AMS is Shea Devereux, who is apparently leading the AMS standings. Coming into this one, he has just been displaced by someone who's just gone a little bit further, and he's displaced even more because Brendan Larter has gone up into 12th position, so Shea Devereux down to 50th. There's not a lot of AMs in the field tonight, interestingly enough. They probably feel, I don't know if they've got other things going on involving them, but it feels like Shea Devereux may have a little bit of an easier ride here compared to previous rounds.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like that the AM field is a little bit thin tonight, and it's it's not surprising if they had an inkling that this was going to be the weather conditions. It might have been this might have been a race to just we'll take a drop week, and we'll come back next week and try again. Maybe it'll be sunny, but yeah, it's very difficult conditions out there, but we've got qualifying over Sam Scott on pole position and Shea Devereux with the AM-class pole from 15th. So he's got a nice gap to the next AM challenger, which I believe is, looking down, maybe Sean Gaynor right behind. So actually not that much of a gap at all. So Sean Gaynor sitting there in P16. So there'll be a nice little head-to-head battle between those two cars once we get rolling here. As qualifying, we're in qualifying overtime here as everybody gets to finish their laps. And then we'll cycle over into our warm-up session.
It's Sam Scott who's going to end the qualifying session fastest over Ryan Goff, who is gunning for an improvement in form at the moment, but he has mastered the conditions so far. Let's hope that he can continue that way in the race as well. We're just waiting for the session to transition over into the warm-up and just see whether the rain does ease off a little, and if so, then track grip should improve from there.
Yeah, we could take a look, and it looks like we're going to have intermittent light rain to, I guess, medium rain. But it looks like the rain will end, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in time to affect the race at all. It looks like we're about an hour away. So if we're keeping up with the normal transitions, then it'll be here just as the race is over. So hopefully we'll be able to, maybe it'll cycle forward a little bit, and we'll get some sunshine on this track, and that'll make things a little bit different. It's always kind of fun to watch the transitions from wet track to dry track as we've got our warm-up period started now.
We are not too far away from this season reaching its conclusion. 1 round to go after this one at Portland International Raceway. This season we've been to Sebring, Mid-Ohio, Road America, VIR, Barber Motorsports Park, Watkins Glen, COTA, Laguna Seca, tonight is Road Atlanta for the penultimate round of the season. And the last round will be over at Portland International Raceway. And I think apparently we've got a little bit of a message from Seth Spolman is saying, "I love the rain, by the way."
Yeah,
well,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was going to be Omet sending messages to us saying she likes the rain. It's good for sleeping. I sleep a lot better when we've got a nice little rain outside. So here's our grid up here during the warm-up session. Let these guys get lined up and do a little side-by-side racing. Just try and get a feel for it in these conditions. And this is going to be very, very helpful for these drivers as they get out there and run a few laps together and just kind of get a feel for the track conditions as we get a countdown from one of the drivers. And off they go. So side by side, 2 or 3 deep, and it's just going to be fun to watch. And let's see how these drivers can handle this wet track. Mazda's usually pretty good. These rain tires that the Mazda MX-5 has really do a really good job of being consistent in the wet. So once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy car to drive. Obviously, you still want to be very careful. But, you know, these cars are a bit heavier than our Formula 4s from Tuesdays. And those cars do not do nearly as well in the wet stuff as these MX-5s do.
Ron in the live chat saying, "Go Zane." That's Zane Cross, in case you are wondering who he's referring to. Good to have you here. Ron, let us know how your week has been. For everyone that's tuning into the live chat, do make sure you like and subscribe as well. And that way you won't miss a thing, including everything line up in the DRSCCA, as we see some drivers coming together and taking a little bit of an alternative route towards the latter part of the lap. Now they're coming around the last corner onto the pit straight. It's a relatively short straight here, here at Road Atlanta. It's a 2.5 mile course around this configuration that's been around since 2017. This circuit first opened in 1970. The course was virtually the same back then, apart from maybe the chicane where turns 10A and 10B are at. Other than that, it's been relatively unchanged here for the best part of 60 years.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to know what the old Road Atlanta looked like, there's a movie out there somewhere on the internet called Free Jack, starring Emilio Estevez, where he played a race car driver turned into something very different. It's a weird movie, but it does feature Road Atlanta in the old configuration without the chicanes. So it is very cool to just kind of go back and relive a little history. This track has lots of history. Not just from the racing that goes on there, but from the ownership as well. There are stories that we really can't talk about on the internet of how this became, for the ownership group during the 80s, a runway for their private plane in their not so legal import-export business. And that's about as far as we can take it from so lots of history around surrounding this track, both on the track and with the ownership group as well.
And as we come into run about 5 minutes before this warm-up session comes to close to an end, we've got time to run through the league's sponsors. And without the sponsors, this particular league of DRSCCA, with the fact that they've got their F4s and MX5 Cup series that they've been staged during the course of the winter season. Charles, why don't you do the honours and run through the league sponsors?
Yeah, for sure. We do want to take time out to thank all of our sponsors involved in these leagues. Of course, these leagues wouldn't be possible without the direct support of the Detroit region of the SCCA. And they do a great job of getting everything set up for these 2 leagues as we see during the course of the week. Also, we want to thank Waterford Hills Road Racing, Metro Detroit's only permanent sanctioned road course. Waterford Hills is located in Clarkston, Michigan, and hosts a 6-weekend race series, competitive driving school, and 9 public open track days. The track is hot from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on those event days and is open to the public for only a nominal $5 entry fee, and that gets you close to the action. You can check it all out at waterfordhills.com, get all the details there. Also, thanks to the Michigan Turn Marshals for their support as well. If you want to get close to the action, be sure to check out MichiganTurnMarshals.org. They can train you to support races like the Detroit Grand Prix, and that's MichiganTurnMarshals.org. Also, we want to thank SUPERLAP, located in the world-renowned Woodward Avenue, Berkeley, Michigan. SUPERLAP is a sim drive studio, a space to meet and compete with professional-grade racing simulators, our premier racing and driving experience venue. They will help you to achieve your motorsports goals with education, practice, and training. Maybe you're familiar, since we're talking about Formula One, with their world-famous driver Max Verstappen, who is a huge proponent of sim racing, races himself quite frequently, and if Max Verstappen uses a sim rig, why shouldn't you? You can race and practice against an AI roster, go head-to-head with other humans or both. They also offer league play like the DRSCCA League. Go to superlap.world for all the details. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors for making this at all possible, and we really appreciate all the support, and I'm sure the drivers do as well.
Thank you, Charles, for coming through that disco saying you probably won't be Max Verstappen if you use the sim. It does take time to be used to be Max Verstappen. I'm sure he does spend endless hours on the sim as of when he's got the chance to do so, given the fact that he is busy driving a racing car for life over in Albert Park, just as literally the first practice session is underway.
Yeah, the trick is you have to start about age 5 in a kart, and then go from there. And then once you become a world champion in F1, then you can come back and do sim racing. So you got to go through all that first. That's kind of for most people, kind of the backwards way of doing things. But it worked for him, so it could work for you. So get in the sim and do some racing. I will be doing some after this broadcast myself. So if you're looking for some fun, you go find me in the Radical Series over at at Monza Combined. Some good racing there. I've been having a great time driving that this week.
I wish I could have a sim of my own, to be fair. Especially whether it would be iRacing or R-Factor 2 or something like that for me to give it a go on. But I know how nimble these machines are to drive the Mazda MX-5s, especially you're having to race these in wet weather conditions. But these drivers are very well experienced in these cars now, and they showed it at Barber Motorsports Park the last time they raced in these conditions. And if they're able to do it there, they can most certainly do it again here at Red Atlanta. Sure. There's not as many corners here. That's the only argument I would have. I think it's like the second half of the lap where it's a lot less tricky for them. It's the S's, as you can just see. At turn 10A, Ruben Gutierrez slide his way, taking the shortcut there. But at least he's given it a go. I don't think he even set a lap time in qualifying, if I remember rightly. But either way, we'll find out.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, it's just, this track, this is obviously the little, once again, much bigger than Barber, at least as far as the speed. So Ruben doing a good job of just getting the car wound up, even though he was off the track. He did not wreck, so that's the bonus. So now it's just, hey, back your braking point up, make sure you brake it in a straight line before you do your turn in for the corner. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be some good racing. So yeah, it's just one of those that you're right. They did a great job at Barber a few weeks ago in the wet, and I think we're going to be in for a good race here as we're finishing up the warm up. As we see Ari with a little spin around there in turn 1, and he's going to take it back to the pits, and we'll get ready to do some racing here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, indeed. In terms of who's been setting the fast start time in the warm-up session, that'll be a Mr. Sam Scott, who has done a 1:48.7. I think that might be a quicker lap time in the warm-up compared to what he did in qualifying. Perhaps maybe the track grip has improved a little bit. But everyone is back in the pit lane now, just waiting for the session to transition into the race. And here we go. Let's have a rundown on the grid for today's event here at Road Atlanta. Sam Scott on pole with Ryan Goff alongside, and it's Andrew Mowat and Ari Reitzer on the second row. Sean Fritz and Sane Cross are on row 3, followed by The race winner of the previous 2 rounds, Lincoln Olsen and Ahmed Baidu in 7th and 8th. Ryder Poe and Chris Murray round out the top 10. Then it's James Hayosh and Brennan Larter. Alex Reiter starts in 13th position ahead of Seth Spolman. And it's Shea Devereux, the highest of the AMs, in 15th position on the grid. Sean Gaynor in 6th. Corey Gordonier in 17th, followed by Mike Schmidt, Ruben Gutierrez, and David Grudzinski on the 10th row of the grid. Dave Oken in 21st, ahead of Matthew Minorino. Then it's Richard Shabe and William Lindner, who didn't set lap times, and neither did 25th place man Alex Larson.
Yep. So just did a quick check of the weather. We rolled up to the top of the hour for the start of this race session, and the rain is projected to end at the 30-minute mark. So it looks like it's going to be wet for the entire session. It looks like the rain is going to start slacking off, though, about mid-race. So that may be help, at least if nothing else, that'll help with maybe the vision of the drivers, maybe cut the spray down a little bit, make it a little bit easier to run behind each other.
The pace car escorting the field round then. 21 cars are showing on the racetrack. Corey Gordonier has not taken to the circuit yet. He may start from the pit lane with where he is at. He's currently in the pit lane, so I would imagine he'll take the first... he'll start from the pit lane from where he is at. He was meant to be starting from 17th on the grid. Now it's essentially 22nd, unless Richard Shabe, William Linder, and Alex Larson do actually take to the racetrack. What you're looking out for here then, Charles, because it's the weather, it's virtually the same, but I would probably say, would you say it's lighter, the rain, compared to what we saw?
It is starting to lighten up, and it will continue that through the remainder of the race until the end when it's scheduled to stop raining. But what I'm looking for is I'm seeing Sean Fritz there starting in P5. He had the second fastest time in the practice session. So let's see if he can make some moves early here and get up and challenge Sam Scott. Otherwise, you got to be patient. You got to let the tires get some temp in them. Get those up to get them up to racing temp. That'll help your traction through the corners. You got to be very careful with the curbs. The curbs are going to be extremely slippery. I'm thinking about turn 5 primarily. It's a difficult corner, even in the dry. In the wet, it's going to see a lot of action there. You're going to see cars probably washing out, probably lose a couple there on some spins. But otherwise, then the other section here is the run down the backstretch into turn 10A. You've got to get the car stopped. You're going to have to back your braking points up, braking, turning it through, off the brakes, and we do that. I think we're in for a good race. So let's see what these drivers are going to be able to pull out tonight.
Well, they're going through turn 9 now and coming towards the chicanes of turn 10A and 10B. And then before long, the race will be getting underway. And it is Sam Scott at the head of the field, Ryan Goff alongside. And Amet coming and saying the wrecking begins. Well, don't jinx it just yet, Amet. But here we go. For the pace car is coming into the pit lane now, and Sam Scott can dictate the pace here. And we'll wait for those lights to come on, and we'll be good to go. The green lights are on, and we're good to go racing here at Road Atlanta. And we see Ryan Goff getting his nose in front, but it is Sam Scott who is going to have the inside line for the right-hander. Goff has his nose in front. Now, the race is not won on the first lap, but it is where it can be lost. And right now, so far as you see, Scott get a little twitch on the way through 1. But now the drivers will be securing the knowledge that the S's are coming up, and this is where things can go horribly wrong if they don't get through here safely. As we see Sean Fritz riding on board with in 5th position. Lincoln Olsen has made up 1 position already at the expense of Sane Cross. And now the downhill, as you can see, the amount of oversteer that Fritz is having to correct. And at the moment, with all the standing water, they're just doing their utmost to avoid going over the puddles or the curbs.
Yeah, doing a good job. No issues yet. Knock wood. So far, everybody's still on the track. Corey Gordonier did come out of the pits. He will probably be able to catch the back of the field with this pace, and driving by himself, he can kind of run his own line. Larson, Scheib, and Linder did not take the start of the race, so we will be running with 22 tonight. So We'll see how this so far so good with everybody. And now we get our first big test here as we head down into 10A.
Everyone behaving so far. As we see Goff leading, it's Ari Reiter moving up to second after starting in fourth place. Scott is down to third. Then it's Andrew Meriden, who's in fourth position, ahead of Sean Fritz. Further back, we look at Alex Reiter on the tail of Brennan Larter in the fight for P12. And as they are applying the brakes and heading through the left and the right. And there's one more corner which they'll be navigating through before the line. And judging by the lap times we're going to be seeing, it'll be at the very minimum a 16 lap race, maybe 17 depending on how quick the leaders can get round. But no incidents so far, Charles, which is great to see from the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Good start. Oh ye of little faith there, Omet. Yeah, the one time you say they'll wreck, they don't wreck. Exactly, that's how that works. That's the reverse commentator's curse. So you try and predict things and it doesn't come true. But yeah, so far so good. Is everybody still out there running? Basically, you're just in a straight line right now. Not any real big gaps have formed. I think the closest, there's about a 2-second gap between Alex Ryder and Seth Spolman, sitting there in 13th and 14th. Then it is, but it's pretty much nose to tail here at the start of the race, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to get the first half of this race under your belt and just make laps and then save the racing for the last half. Give yourself time to just kind of get in a good rhythm, learn where the track is going to let you make moves and where it's not, as we see a little bit of a challenge there, too wide, coming into 7. This is that group with Devereaux, Gaynor, Gutierrez, and Schmidt. Gutierrez still hanging in there 17th, so already some battles going on a little further back in the field.
Yeah, so there is Sean Gaynor, who's behind the man who's leading the AMS, Shay Devereaux. It's interesting, actually, because if you look from 8th to 16th, there's been no changes in positions between that particular group in the field. As we have a look on the timing tower now, there you go. And everyone's just taking it easy from here on in. The rain is still coming down on the circuit. Ryan Goff is 7 tenths clear over Reiter in second position. Ari Reiter, that is, in case you're wondering, because there are 2 Reiters in the field. Do get involved in the live chat. And Alicia's coming in saying, let's go ESSSR. Now, if you remember last night, or the other night actually, it means eat, sleep, sim, repeat.
That's it.
So yeah, that's going to stay in my mind now from here on in. But there is actually a team that under the eyes of ESSR. I think that's the Oaken, the Okens in the field, Dave and Okens. John.
Yeah, I think, and also Ryder Poe, I think, is also running that on his car as well, which I heard from Jeremy, who knows that family, that will be his, not just his sim racing livery, but that'll be his racing livery when he does his spec Mazdas during the course of the summer this season.
Here we see Lincoln Olsen, race winner in the last 2 rounds, and he also won the last wet weather race at Balboa Motorsports Park along with it. So Olsen's just taking his time, no rush to get to pick these off one by one, but he is lining up a move on Sean Fritz. Probably get a move by around about where turn 10A is. He is into the draft, so you want to be pulling out and sending one up the inside. There is room on the inside if he's thinking about it, unless he feels that the outside is the better line to take. But Fritz is the one that breaks later, as you could just see further up ahead, a few cars ahead of him. I think that is Scott and Reiter fighting over P2. Reiter just hanging on there, as he took a rather weird line compared to his rivals, and all of that has allowed Ryan Goff to pull further clear.
Yeah, Goff out to a 1.2 second lead over Ryder and Scott, and then you've got Moet and Fritz and Olsen very, very close behind. A little bit of a gap back to Zane Cross in 7th, but he's definitely not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, as they're working their way through turn 3 here, through the chicane at the top of the hill, and everybody clean and green as we continue down through the S's and we're around to turn 5 once again. Oh, and there's a spin, and that is Moet around. And, contact, and that was that Baydoun maybe that came through.
Yeah, it was Mowed and someone else got involved in it. It might have been Badun or it might have been Cross. No, it was Sane Cross that got involved in that, so bad luck for the pair of them. And I think there was another incident further back as well, which has seen Spolman fall down the order as well. So both Mowed and Cross in the wars. Unfortunately, Sean Fritz has got a slow down to his name on the timing tower. But here's a replay. That is Spolman, who I think spun off the circuit along with Sean Gaynor. Gaynor's the one in that black car coming back on. And further back, what we're going to be seeing here. This is Ruben Gutierrez. And he's going to take for a spin on the exit of turn 10B. But at least that's nothing too dramatic there. No one else is involved. But I want to see the spin again from that's Spolman off the circuit. We want to see the one involving Mowed and Cross, because Mowed was the one that spun first, and it's almost like he reversed back into the path of St. Cross. Nothing intentional, obviously. Yeah. But the only criticism I would give to him is the fact that he didn't put his foot on the brakes to stop that car from rolling back into the path of Cross.
Yeah, and you know, with the track conditions, he may have. There's just not much you can do. But yeah, it's Spolman just taking a little too much speed coming into one, losing the rear of the car. Easy enough to do. Gets it back. You know, I guess is to make a little joke of it. The good thing about spinning the car is you know where the traffic is because you can see it coming at you. So it makes it real easy to rejoin, because you know where all the cars are and you can find a safe place to come back out onto the track. So we get a battle here between Alex Ryder and Brennan Latta. And this is for the final position in 10th. The final top 10 position here as they work their way through the S's and around through turn 5. And yeah, just once again, I don't know that there was anything Mowed or Cross could have done with the conditions that we have today to prevent that from happening. Just because if you start making sudden moves in the rain, the car is just not going to be able to, or is not going to react the way you expect it to.
There we see Hayosh, who's running in P7, James, that is. Ryder Poe directly behind him. And now we're looking at Sean Gaynor on the tail of David Grudzinski. Gaynor to the outside, and Grudzinski didn't put up a fight there, in all honesty. He just allowed him to take the inside. And Gaynor just went through an open door there, like he just sneaked into someone else's house party.
Yeah, exactly right. As Gaynor works his way through. Now we're back to this battle here. Latta now ahead of Alex Ryder, working their way around through 10A and B, and up the hill to finish off another lap as we're coming up to the 10-minute mark of the race. Gutierrez is now in the pits with a meatball flag, so I'm going to guess that Ruben had another incident somewhere out on the track because he didn't hit anything when he had that spin in the final chicane there. So another mistake was made, unfortunately, for Ruben.
Lotta in 10th position now, ahead of Reuter. There's Lotta in the pink, white and black livery. It's almost like a Neapolitan ice cream box you're looking at there, isn't it? The way Lotta is going about his business. Not that I'm saying that is the reason, I'm sure it's not. But he is a man on the move. Sam Scott running in P3, 1.6 seconds off the lead. A whole second off Ari Reuter in the fight for P2. And now we look at Reuter's, is that his brother that Alex is? Or
they're twins.
They're twins.
Alex and Ari are twin brothers.
Which is great to see them both on circuit. Ruben Gutierrez has found himself in the wars in a much more emphatic fashion this time, because he got damage from his latest off. We'll find out exactly what he's been up to as Manarino goes in front of Dave Oken for 16th position. It's Reuter who's just trying to get back into the swing of things in the conditions and go back ahead of Brendan Larter.
Yeah, it's a nice little battle here, and you can see that the cars are kind of doing the leapfrog. They get in behind and get a good draft off the car in front, able to just use the overspeed to get by, and then they find another place to battle back. As we're going to get another replay here, and this is Gutierrez coming down in around the S's, Is he going to make it into 5? He is not. He loses it there in the S's section, and that was a very hard nose-in hit into the wall, and that's a very, very simple decision to just tow back.
Yeah, and Reuter goes ahead of Larter. Larter was very slow on the pit straight, actually. I don't know how he's managed to do that, but he's allowed him by. And Scott is ahead of Reuter, and Reuter has had an off, Charles. He's off at the S's.
Yeah, so the S's are causing some problems as we're coming down this hill. We're going to get a replay here. This is the 27 car of Ari Ryder coming down in through the S's. And yeah, just the same thing that we just saw. But manages to, oh no, he still did quite a bit of damage. Yeah, we're seeing the same thing there. So there must be a puddle or something that's causing these cars on the change of direction to just basically break friction and just hydroplane right off the track and through and into the wall. So another damaged car there, and that is Ari Ryder, who's usually been a stalwart up at the front of this field, and not so much today, unfortunately for him, as he is going to have to come in and get that car repaired if he hasn't already towed. And he didn't. He actually drove it back, or is attempting to drive it back. That car has seen better days. As you can see, a lot of front end damage there, wheel suspension damage on the left front as he's working his way down the back straight. Very long and slow run down the back straight, unfortunately for him. Yeah, he's going to be able to get it back, and he's not going to have to go in and tow, which would be a disqualification. I think, as we've learned from the rule set here, an internal rule here in the DRSCCA league, that if you tow back during the race, that's the end of your race. So he is going to drive it back and at least try and get back out there and make up a few positions.
David Gronczewski is also out of the race as well, because he has found the barrier somewhere. We'll find out exactly what he had been up to. He's probably done it over at the S's, just like we've seen from the likes of Ruben Gutierrez and Ari Reuter. So not good news to see as Reuter continues to tumble down the order with the damage. He will come back out in last position. But let's see if he can actually make up some places. In fact, no, he stops. He stops on second. It's game over for Ari Reuter.
That's a shame. That's a shame. He's just been so good this season, and that's going to be the end of his night. Unfortunately, a little bit early. So only about half of the racing done tonight. So he'll finish down in probably around P18. We'll see if Grodzinski comes back out, but I don't think so. I think he's already left the server. So P18 may be the finishing position for Ari there for tonight's event. As we're now Goff, Scott, Olsen, Fritz, Baydoun, your top 5, and so it's Sam Scott is moving up slowly. Fritz is really only made up the one position from the Ryder incident, so hasn't really done as much as I thought he might. And the gaps are starting to open up now, and it could just be the natural gap from a car going off and you having to make at least some evasive maneuvering, or at least slowing the car down through the yellow section, which is what you should always do.
Lincoln Olsen has a fan joining in the live chat. Hello to you. And travelling without moving, saying, "Oh wow, it is wet out there." Yeah, of course it is.
Yep.
It's been wet since practice.
Woo!
Oh, that's a car in the barrier. It's Goff in the barrier at the S's. So the race leader has found the barrier at the S's, and that hands the lead over to Sam Scott, who's got by Lincoln Olsen.
Yeah, we're going to get this replay and see this. This is Ryan Goff coming down, same spot, just over too much in there, and the car behind, I think I saw also Scott get very, very loose through that section. So that little run down through the S's is causing fits for everybody tonight, not just some of our AMs and our back markers, but for the leaders as well. And it's starting to be very, very starting to look really rough up at the front of the field, as we've got Olsen now in the lead and Scott battling on the outside and looking for a move, but not quite able to get up speed. And Olsen gets that cut off before anything else could happen.
Yeah, through turn 10A and B they come. Olsen, Scott, and Fritz, who's another 3 seconds behind. He's wasted in the wings in case anything happens with these, and given the way this race has gone, the way it has been, goodness knows what could happen from here on in. But Ryan Goff out of the race, and 16 drivers left in this one. And Jim Reuter's saying that'll be a drop race, and yeah, I should think so as well for Ira Reuter. But Alex Reuter is still going in this one. He's now in P8. I think that was Scott that nearly got out of shape at turn 1.
Yeah, that was that was also Olsen that kind of got out of shape there as well. And this track is really starting to work on these drivers, and we see the battle here. And this is Alex Ryder and Murray just behind. And Murray, I believe, is he's a pro. Alex is a pro. Looking down, Shea Devereaux still running in P11 as our high water mark for the AM class. But he's got an 11-second lead over Sean Gaynor, who I think is running in second in the class. So doing a really good job by Devereaux. He's got himself quite a gap. He doesn't have to push nearly as hard through the corners. He can kind of be very, very cautious with it and keep the car in the gray stuff, even though the gray stuff is wet. So it's still better than the alternative, which is the grass, which they've done a lot of work on the off-track friction model, but wet grass is still wet grass, and it's like you might as well be on ice.
Well, there we are. This race has proved to be an attrition, with the number of drivers falling by the wayside in more ways than one, and we wouldn't have expected Ryan Goff to fall by the wayside in the way that he did. And America's just coming in with a few more captions just to amuse us. Safe to say. Take it with a pinch of salt, in case you're wondering. It's just a bit of fun, nothing too offending or anything like that. Olsen coming through turn number 1 in the lead, then ahead of Sam Scott, with Sean Fritz not too far behind. Just seeing how Lincoln goes through the S's here, and let's see if he can actually get through here fine. There's still puddles saturating through, so we've seen some drivers twitch through here, and you have to be so fine as to when you apply the accelerator, because if you apply the accelerator too quick or too soon, then that's what causes the car to spin around on the rear, stepping out. But Lincoln got through that absolutely fine, no problem.
Yeah, and you can see, I want to see if we can find a driver and look at that at turn 5. Normally the normal racing line there is, almost all 4 wheels over on the curb on the exit of turn 5, and they're not even close to the edge of that during this race. They're being very careful, just maybe getting two wheels on. But I was looking at them running down through, as we're going to get a look here at Ryder Poe. There's still a huge puddle of water, and you can see that's the normal dry line, the dry racing line through there, and Ryder attempted it and also lost it as well. So I just think that you're going to have to might have to do a little alternate line running there, and use the go-kart line, as they say, kind of run outside in, as opposed to trying to hug the apex, because obviously there's still a lot of water there as Olsen sideways coming in through turn 10B.
Well, as they head towards the final corner of the lap, 10 minutes to go in this race. It has flown by as well. Ryder Poe rejoined the race, just so that he rejoined in 8th position. He didn't find the barrier, unlike some had been. He's got, there is Sam Scott on the tail of Lincoln Olsen, just keeping in touch. Sean Fritz has lost ground, really, but he has got 12 seconds in hand over Ahmed Beydoun, who has not had an awful lot to do in this race, despite the fact he's made up 4 positions from where he had started. James Hayosh has also gone up 6 from where he had started. Alex Reuter continuing to plough his way through the field, and he is now... How far is he behind? You just see Sam Scott getting out of shape a little bit through the S's there, Charles.
Yeah, I was groaning at that. I was watching him come down the hill, and it's just that, it's you run certain tracks, and you just kind of build up your muscle memory to just, here's the line to run this, and then when you get in the wet, just sometimes you can't. And I think that's what we're seeing today. Is that seems like that's one of those that you need to come up with another way to go through that section of corners, because it's it's been you're rolling the dice every time you go down through there, and you're just hoping that that it sticks. And then you're seeing even some of our faster drivers struggling, just trying to keep the car pointed the right direction as they came down through the S's.
And the sun is poking out, but it is still raining as we see Scott attempting to go for it on Olsen. I think trying to put him off a little and put him under an enormous amount of pressure through the remainder of the lap. But the rain is still coming down as the sun is poking through, so I'm surprised we're not really seeing like a rainbow or anything like that with the way the rain is coming down. But that's iRacing for you. Scott, he needs Olsen to make a mistake at some stage, because for some reason I can't really see Scott sending it. He's probably waiting for Olsen to make that mistake without needing to really go for it.
Yeah, and Olsen, as you can see, is there's a couple places that he struggled. You see him trying to get the car rotated through turn one without losing the rear, and this has to do a lot of corrections on the wheel to keep that car pointed in a straight line. And Sam Scott, yeah, I think it's smart to just kind of keep your car underneath you, and that was a much wider line through turn 5 there by those two drivers. Is you just want to keep the car underneath you and hope that the other guy makes a mistake, and you don't have to try and force the issue. We're going to get a replay here of Mike Schmidt just losing the rear, and that was just way too late on the brakes. Locks it up and slides down into 10A into the barrier on the inside. That is actually fixable. He should be able to come down and get that repaired. As we're now on the battle here with Schmidt heading into the pits. Like he was trying to. Did he tow?
I think Sean Gaynor lost a position to Manarino whilst Schmidt had that accident, and Schmidt has decided to it looks like he was out of the race though, unless he decides that
he's towed it.
Yeah, so that's him done from this one, with there being 6.5 minutes remaining. Lincoln Olsen's lead is still 0.6 of a second. Scott is still there, just waiting for that error from Olsen. Because there's no point trying to go for it at this stage until maybe like the last lap or something. Because if you go for it and make a mistake, and Olsen makes a mistake a little bit later, you'll live to regret that after.
Oh yeah, definitely. As you see him sliding through one as well. It's a gamble to stay behind a car. There is, obviously these drivers know each other, I would think, pretty well this late into the season. So he knows he doesn't feel like Olsen is prone to make a mistake, but the conditions do not necessarily are not in his favor. So we'll see if he decides to try and make a run. Maybe if Olsen gets a little loose or has an issue coming through 7, and Scott can get a run going down the back straight, maybe there's a chance to make a move there. But as for right now, he's not really pushing the issue. He's just kind of keeping time with Olsen in front and trying not to make a mistake himself. As looks like the rain is slowing down. Maybe it's starting to edge off of just a little bit there. And oh no, our AM leader Devereaux meatball flag.
Yeah, and he will need to come back into the pit lane. He is close to pit entry. We're going to see what he's managed to do here. He's probably done the same thing as what Mike Schmidt did by just locking the rear brakes on entry to the corner. He's done exactly the same thing. He's done exactly the same thing as what Schmidt did.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a little bit of overconfidence after you've done 20 minutes of a race. It's like, I can take this a little bit deeper and maybe make up a little time. And then you find out that once he loaded the front end of that car, the rear just said, "No, I'm stepping out." And as you said, same thing as Mike Schmidt a little earlier. We see the 11 car going around, and that is Brennan, I believe. So gets it righted and back out. So he's on for a good result. Just got to keep the car headed the right direction here for the final few minutes.
It looks like Devereaux's race is run, so that's him gone from this one, which hands the AM lead to Matthew Manarino, who's in P10 in this one. He's running about 5 seconds clear over Sean Gaynor, so Manarino on the brink of taking the AM victory. Is he Has he got no bumper to his wagon there? It almost looks like he's got no bumper.
No, he's been in the wars as well. Just hasn't done enough damage to the car to force him to come in. Yeah, that is definitely a 24 hours of Lemon's entry if I've ever seen one. So he's managed to keep, once again, just managed to keep the car on the track. He just obviously has made a mistake somewhere, but the good old Lucky Strike car there is continuing on and is going to click another lap off, and he's got about 5 seconds ahead of, I believe, Sean Gaynor running in P11. So just got to keep the car headed the right direction. Is obviously going to be at top speed is going to be a problem, but don't really need top speed at the track in this state.
No, I think with the conditions as they are, it's just important to make sure you have all the downforce, because you need more downforce in wet conditions than you do in the dry. But these are Mazda MX-5s. You can't really do too much about them. But it's just about changing the way you drive the vehicle in the wet compared to what you would do in the dry. But there is Alex Reuter in P7 for Ryder Poe for company, and just ahead of them is Chris Murray. So we've got a three-way fight for 6th position in the closing minutes of this one. Looking around whereabouts Lincoln Olsen is on the circuit, he's just started his 16th lap. I would probably say it's this and one more.
Yep, I think that's right. I think we're 2 to go at this point, as Lincoln Olsen has just set the fastest lap of the race with a 146.22. So great driving by Lincoln. I think he's, once again, he knows where the trouble spots are. He's just got to avoid it for 2 more laps.
Yeah, and we see James Hayosh on the rear of Ahmed Beydoun. They've been at it for the last lap or two. But Beydoun is doing his utmost to hold on, with there being not long left in this one. 2.5 miles for each lap round here. And Lincoln Olsen has actually pulled out a 2.5 second gap. I wonder if Scott's made a mistake on this one, hence why he's dropped back. But there we see a brilliant battle. That's Chris Murray ahead of Alex Reuter and Ryder Poe. Brennan Lards is nowhere near in this one after that spin he had not too long ago. So we've actually got a 3-0 fight for 6th position, as we see Lincoln Olsen coming round to begin his final lap, whilst these are fighting over P6.
Yeah, it's a really nice battle here that's heating up here at the very end of the race. As you mentioned, Lincoln Olsen's now 2.5 second gap over Sam Scott. So yeah, I would agree. I think Scott maybe made a mistake somewhere during the course of the early half of this lap. As we're coming around to white flag here as our P6, P7, P8 runners coming around turn 7 for the run down the back straight on the penultimate lap.
Well, they've not got too long left. There is Lincoln Olsen on his way to his 3rd win in a row. He started this one in P7 on the grid, and he took his time, which is how we predicted. This one is far from over, involving Chris Murray and Alex Reuter. Reuter to the outside of Chris. Is Ryder Poe going to take advantage of these two squabbling? Well, he's later on the brakes compared to Murray. But Murray keeps his nose in front, but there may be a way through for Ryder Poe. His momentum's upset there by Chris Murray. Had he got out alongside, he would have been through.
Yeah, just not quite enough there, as you said. Now he's got to make a run down. He's going to look to the inside here at turn 1. Very dangerous move here as they dope side by side through 1.
Yeah, a lot later on the brakes, but that is good enough for Ryder Poe to head on through ahead of Chris Murray. So Murray loses 2 positions in the space of a few corners. There we see Ahmed Beydoun and James Hayosh tussling over 4th position. Bang of wheels. That was a little bit naughty, that from Hayosh, as he looks to make his way through around the outside. We want to be going to the race leader, Lincoln Olsen, who is not far from the checkered flag now, but there he is at turn 10A, where we see, we're looking at the battle for 4th position again. It looks like Hayosh has this one covered for the time being, but Lincoln Olsen is heading through the last corner. It's a hat-trick of wins for the man in your picture. Lincoln Olsen wins in the wet here at Road Atlanta by just 2 seconds ahead of Sam Scott, and it's Sean Fritz who will make it to the podium, but the battle for 4th place is still not over. Hayosh and Beydoun are still going at it as they head towards the final few corners of the racetrack. A lot later on the brakes as James Hayosh slides his way through, and he spins as Hayosh, and Ahmed Beydoun will pick up 4th position. Hayosh will make it to 5th place. He's got more than enough in hand over Alex Reuter. Beiding finishes 4th. Hayos will head over the line in 5th position. And it's Alex Reuter who is ahead of Ryder Poe, albeit by a few tenths. There is Ryder Poe who goes to the inside. Reuter left the door open on the apex. Ryder Poe may be able to get the drive coming out of the corner all the way to the line if he can help it. But I think Alex Reuter is going to hold on ahead of Poe. And it was rewarded by with Poe. It's going to be so close. But Reuter holds on. Reuter holds on ahead of Poe with Chris Murray in 8th. And we wait for the likes of Brendan Larter, Matthew Manorino, who's going to win out in the AMS ahead of Sean Gaynor by 10 seconds. And he's been able to go through the race without a front bumper to his wagon.
Yep, he is indeed, and so he's the number 13 is gonna strike lucky tonight and win the AM class victory and a top 10 to boot. So great driving by Manorino. Yep, don't have a front bumper, but that doesn't matter, and I'm just gonna break the car after I cross the finish line anyway. So great job, and as we get a little note from Omet, the only amateur car to finish the race. So great drive by Matthew Manorino.
And we got there in the end, and now we can run down on the final race result here, with there being 1 round to go next week. Lincoln Olsen takes a 3rd consecutive victory ahead of Sam Scott, with Sean Fritz in 3rd. Ahmed Beydoun in 4th position ahead of James Hayosh and Alex Reuter. Ryder Poe, Chris Murray and Brendan Larter ran out the top 9. The winner in the AMS is Matthew Manorino, with Sean Gaynor in 11th place ahead of Corey Gordonier. Ahead of Seth Spolman and Dave Oakham were the last drivers to finish. Those that didn't, they were Shea Devereux, Mike Schmidt, Ryan Goffer, who lost from the lead, Ari Reuter, David Grudzinski, Ruben Gutierrez, Andrew Murray, and Zane Cross. The drivers that did not start were Richard Shabe, Alex Larson, and William Lindner.
Yeah, great bit of racing there tonight. Very difficult conditions. Took out some very talented drivers tonight, this track here at Road Atlanta. So great job by Lincoln. 3 in a row. He's having a great second half of the season. And I think he's waiting for a little bit of a conversation there, Tom.
Well, let's have a word with him now then. The man who we are speaking to, a 3rd consecutive win for Lincoln Olsen, heading into the last round of the season. Lincoln, good evening.
Hey, how are you guys?
Not too bad, thank you. How was that for you compared to, let's say, Bob Motorsports Park in the wet?
Yeah, it was a handful. Had a pretty bad qualifying, was just out of it a little bit, couldn't quite get there in a super tight field. So didn't quite have that comfort like I did starting from pole at Barber, but glad I could get it done and work through the field.
And, you know, through all the drama we've had in this race, how difficult was it to go through, like, the S's? Because we saw Ryan Goff go off the circuit. We saw Andrew Murray and Zane Cross come together. There was just so many drivers falling by the wayside. What was the key ingredient to get through that part of the course in these Mazda MX-5s?
Yeah, I just went into the race with the mindset, you got to finish to win it. So just took it easy, especially seeing more and more go out there. I started taking it a little bit more easier there, even if it would cost me a 10th or 2. I just knew it would be okay. So just taking it a little bit easier and managing when it was worth the push and not.
And with these, do you drive in the sim for these Mazda MX-5s, Lincoln?
Yeah. These. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say, because when you're driving the steering wheel in these, considering how nimble these Mazda MX-5s are, it's like the slightest twitch could send the car around so much.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of time to play around with the setup. I was kind of hoping to, make the rear end a little bit less loose, but just dealt with it. But just like you said, they're super twitchy cars, and it's something you definitely have to be careful with. I think it's something that is good for me. When we did the Tuesday rain race in the F4s, I'm not quite as good in the rain in those. But yeah, I fit really well in the rain with these cars.
And how does that fare going into the last round of the season at Portland International Raceway? Because I don't have details as to where the championship standings are, but do you know whereabouts you are in terms of the standings? Because I imagine you'd be somewhere at the top.
Yeah, I was going into this one with our 2 drops. I was 4 points ahead. And then in this race, I managed to get a 0x somehow. So I got 2 extra points plus the 25 for the win over Ari Ryder. So that'll be a very big boost. So definitely a lot of confidence going into next week.
I can imagine so. Is there anyone of the shout out to Lincoln before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to my family. Appreciate everyone watching out there. I know I got grandparents, everybody. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the DRSCCA League for throwing up this super fun league for us, and of course you guys for streaming it.
Thank you very much, Lincoln. Well done on your victory today, a 3rd in a row, and best of luck to try and make it 4 in a row to finish out the season in the MX5 Cup.
Yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, Lincoln. Thank you very much. Well, there's no one else in the interview room, and that leaves us to wrap up things here, Charles. Your last thoughts as we have a look at the live chat to see Jim Rice coming and saying, "Nice job, Alex." Well, I couldn't agree more because he came through from 13th on the grid to 6th position in the WEP.
Yeah, great job by Alex. Good result. I know he's been working hard to try and move up, and it all worked for him because like I said, sometimes you have to be good, but other times you just need to be lucky. And I think Alex did a good job in the car and had some luck fall his way with some of the other drivers not being able to get to the end, including his brother. So he gets to hold that over his head for a week, and then they'll come back and try again next week at Portland to wrap up this season. So we'll see how Alex progresses, and if Ari can bounce back and have a good result next week.
Well, thank you, Charles, for taking the time to be alongside me today. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in and getting involved in the conversation. It's been fantastic to interact with you. Do make sure you like and subscribe. And that way you won't miss a thing, particularly what is going on in the DRSCCA season. And that leaves for us to wrap up things. It's been a wet weather masterclass again from Lincoln Olsen, who came through from P7 on the grid to victory. Many fell by the wayside, but most certainly not him. Will he do it again at Portland in 7 days' time to wrap out the season? It looks very much like he's got one hand on the championship trophy. I am Tom Cairns with Charles Beauchel with a Met working behind the scenes, and we'll speak to you again soon when the DRSCCA SUPERLAP Mazda MX-5 Cup returns, and it's good night.